listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
Good morning and welcome to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm your pharmacist, Paul White. We're glad you joined us. Before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Altman Health Systems, Studio Arts and Glass, and Genure Appraisals and Liquidations, who has a tag sale this weekend. Today, Brad and I are broadcasting from our administrative offices, and our special guest is Dr. Denise Testa, audiologist with Hear the Possibilities. Good morning, Dr. Testa, and welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's been a crazy 9 months since I opened my practice February 1st, but pleased to say that I've increased staff. I have hired one of my former colleagues. So there's 2 audiologists here now. I'm full-time and Amy's part-time. And we're just loving the dream here.
Sounds exciting. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, recently, the FDA permitted the sale of over-the-counter or OTC hearing aids. OTC hearing aids are designed to treat mild to moderate hearing loss in adults 18 years and older. This ruling is intended to help those who aren't seeking help from a professional audiologist due to a variety of factors that could include embarrassment or cost. This morning, we're going to talk with Dr. Testa about OTC hearing aids, their pros and cons, and other valuable information. We'd like to remind our listeners that our program is also available on our podcast. Just look for Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy in your favorite podcast app, and please subscribe.
Okay, Doctor. Welcome back to the show. It's great to see you again.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and your training.
Okay, so I have been an audiologist now for almost 26 years here in the North Canton area. I received my undergrad and my grad degree from the University of Akron, and then I pursued my doctorate in audiology and graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 2006. I was born and raised in Kent, Ohio. I met my husband at the University of Akron. We have been married 29 years now, and our oldest son just graduated from the University of Toledo and is working as a management trainee with Cintas Corporation. And my daughter is a senior at Lake High School and just loving her senior year. And now we're looking for colleges for her.
I see. Now, where's she thinking about going?
Well, she wants to cheer in college. And so her first choice was Bowling Green. But now she finds that might be a little too far for her. So Ashland University is one of her top choices. She's already applied and is been accepted, and her and my husband are going next Monday for her official visit, and she's going to meet the coach, and so she wants to go into journalism, but they also have a degree with computer arts with journalism. So that's what I think she's going to do.
Exciting. Okay. So tell our listeners about your practice and where you are located.
Okay. So my practice name is Hear the Possibilities. We are located at 6231 Frank Avenue, right across from the university, Kent Stark. And we're in the south building right up front. And so it's easy access for most folks to get here.
An audiologist, what kind of issues do you treat? Do you treat people of all ages, children, adults?
Yes. From newborns to geriatrics. I think my oldest patient right now is 102, and she still comes into the office. So, which is awesome to see her. And we treat hearing loss, balance disorders, tinnitus, earwax is a big one. But there's a wide variety, and hearing aids, FM systems, sound protection, custom devices. So plethora.
So you clean out the earwax?
Oh, yes. It is very satisfying.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right. So hearing aids recently became available over the counter. Can you tell us some of the differences between OTC hearing aids and those you might offer in your practice?
Okay. So I'd like to back up just a little bit about the OTC and how they came about. So the general public typically believes at this point that it was just like, hey, we're going to do this. No, it actually started in 2017 by the FDA. It was called the Food and Drug Administrative Reauthorization Act of 2017. That was to establish and develop regulations for classification of OTC hearing aids in response to demands from consumers and government agencies for affordable and accessible hearing aids in the US. So what they've done now is there's now 2 classifications of hearing aids. In the past, the hearing aids that I dispensed, it was just a hearing aid category. We're now a prescriptive category, and OTC has their own category. There's another confusion that has also arisen, and patients are coming into my office asking, what's the difference between an over-the-counter hearing aid, a PSAP, which is a personal sound amplification product, as well as a hearable? Do you guys ever get any of those questions? So PSAPs are meant for individuals with normal hearing who want to amplify sounds in certain situations, like people that bird watch, hunters, and those are regulated as consumer electronics and not as medical devices. Okay, and the cost typically is less than about $100. Now, hearables are worn on the ear, headsets, earbuds, and wirelessly receive sound signal from another source. So from a phone, the television, an iPad. The headset itself might have a volume control or an app that's associated with it so that the individual can turn up the volume and turn it down. Hearables provide situation-specific listening solutions rather than a hearing solution for the whole day. And those cost anywhere between $300 to $500, okay? The FDA does not regulate PSAPs or hearables for safety and effectiveness like they do hearing aids and over-the-counter. So hearing is healthcare. Hearing aids are healthcare, not a consumer electronic device, okay? So now back to your original question. My office is going to be providing both over-the-counter and prescriptive, okay? Over-the-counter hearing aids are really meant for the patient that has a mild to moderate perceived hearing loss, not diagnosed. That's where the trouble's gonna occur, I have a feeling. And if a patient decides that, I think I have this mild to moderate loss, I'm going to go to Best Buy and get a set of hearing aids. What we as audiologists really are proposing is get your hearing tested first. Just get that original diagnostic to see, are you in that category of mild to moderate, or is it worse than that? Because I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 of my patients that come in, when they have a diagnosed hearing loss, they don't really think it's as bad as it actually is. Now, on the other side of that, with the hearing aids over the counter that I'm going to have here, they're also going to get the service side of audiology, not just go get the hearing aid, try to put it in your ear. So these hearing aids, the over the counter, are pretty much one size fits most. And what we're worried about too is, are these patients that are buying these, are they going to overfit? Are they going to be underfit? And then they're going to get a bad taste in their mouth again of reliability. Well, you know what? Hearing aids don't work. But on the other side, if they would come and say, hey, I bought this hearing aid, can I get some service for it? By all means. Patients that or customers that are buying hearing aids elsewhere, by all means, they can call my office. We can run verification on them to make sure that they're actually doing what they say. Because at this point, we haven't seen, as audiologists, any of the spec sheets that these hearing aid companies or these electronic companies are making these over-the-counter hearing aids. So we don't really know what they're doing. We know that there's rules and regulations that they have to follow, but we haven't seen anything to actually know what's going on.
Interesting. So have these new hearing aids, are they everywhere all of a sudden, or?
Well, they, as of the 17th of October, they were released. So
Okay.
they're going to be able to be found online at Best Buy, Walmart, any retail store. Now, what is kind of ironic is that somebody had posted something on Facebook about hearing aid over the counters that were at Walmart that said, if you have any trouble with these, go to the ophthalmology center. They'll help you.
Wait a minute.
Because they're versed in audiology, right? So it is just so misleading for the consumers out there on, yeah, I can just pick this up and put it in my ear. Some of the hearing aids, or I have to stop saying hearing aids, the over-the-counters will be programmable through smartphones. Some will just have a volume control or like a little potentiometer for bass and treble. Now, I can tell you this factually and with transparency, that I have so many patients that come in that have a smartphone, whether it's an Android or an iPhone, they don't know how to download an app because they don't know their passwords, let alone buying an over-the-counter hearing aid and trying to program it on their own.
Oh my God.
So.
Okay, very interesting opening to the show. Time for our first break. You're listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm happy to report that we've been fortunate to purchase the Dartmouth Pharmacy of Canton. All prescription records have been transferred to the Canton Medicine Center Pharmacy on West Tuscarawas Street. We have already met and transferred many former Dartmouth Pharmacy patients and have hired the staff to work in our Canton store. So please stop by and check out our super pharmacy. Any questions, please call the Medicine Center in Canton, 330-455-5422. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia.
It's a Christmas wonderland for the Studio Arts and Glass Holiday Open House. Shop our yearly pre-season sale for 20% savings off hand-blown glass, unique jewelry, pottery, and of course, stunning stained glass. All handmade in America. Don't forget, we're open extended hours for the holidays. The Holiday Open House at Studio Arts and Glass in North Canton on 77 in Apple Grove. Come in today.
Hi, Paul White from the Medicine Center Pharmacy. If you haven't gotten your COVID vaccine shot yet, you've got to get to the Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, or New Philadelphia. We are waiting for you and have vaccine. Call or stop in your closest Medicine Center pharmacy, and we'll take care of you. Getting a COVID vaccine will save you from getting very sick. So hurry and get on with protecting yourself. The Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
Back to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Don't forget to stop in for your flu shot or COVID booster. Walk-ins are welcome and appointments can be made on our online medshop.com, medshoprx.com, excuse me. We look forward to helping you stay healthy.
All right, so we've been talking a little bit this morning about the new over-the-counter hearing devices. And, how does obviously this is a touchy subject because some people don't want to admit that they might need some help. So how does someone decide if something like this might help them?
Well, I would say the easiest thing, or a couple rules of thumb. If a patient is, or a person is able to hear easily in quiet in one-on-one situations, are they having few difficulties in listening situations with a little bit of background noise? Or are they turning the TV up just a little bit to get a little bit more clarity? That's not considered overly too loud by someone else in the room. Those folks are probably pretty good candidates for over the counter, because it would be situation dependent, not something that they'd want to wear all day long. That's really what over the counter hearing aids are for.
So why should I consider an OTC hearing aid?
Why should you? Because ideally, it would be the first step into just kind of like a starter device for those certain little situations that, again, like I had said before, that you're just having a little bit of trouble in. And they are reported that they are cheaper, and they are. However, there are some hearing aids that you can get through an audiologist that are comparable in price, just lower end technology, but still you get the service side, that kind of thing along with it. But I always recommend getting your hearing tested first, just to see where you are.
So is the answer to why shouldn't I consider them because you probably really should have your hearing tested first?
Yes, sir. That would be ideal. Yes, okay. To just really get a base level too, or a baseline. And I've had some patients in within the last month, and they were really good candidates for over the counter. And one in particular, she said, well, I'll come back to you. Like, okay, I'll call you when the rules come out, because it was before that. And she said, I feel like I want to go to the professional, not just go to a store where I can get anything and everything. You know, they're taking the expert out of that equation, which is not good. Yeah.
Any other pros or cons you want to bring to the attention of the listeners today?
Sure. There's a lot of them. So some of the pros that we were kind of going over, there's easier access for individuals that don't want to visit a medical professional. Cost will be lower. And sometimes the accessibility and the cost will entice someone to at least start out on the journey. And again, they are for hearing losses for mild to moderate perceived. Okay. Some of the cons is, you know, the whole perceived rather than diagnosed. And there's no formal assessment, no medical evaluation is required. Thus, there's a risk. So some folks might have an ear infection, a sudden hearing loss, cholesteatoma, you know, a malformed ear. All of those are reasons not to get an over the counter. And the devices have that one size fits most. And no one's going to be monitoring the progression of that hearing loss. And we know that our ear is an organ, just like the rest of us. It ages, and statistically, your hearing's going to change with time. So you want to make sure that you are getting tested regularly. And there's no verification that these devices are actually doing what they're meant to do for you. In our practice, every single patient that receives hearing aids has what's called a real ear measure, where we actually have the hearing aid in their ear, and there's a microphone that goes down, and we measure the levels of output for soft, average, and loud speech to see, are we meeting those acoustic targets? And if patients come into my office with a purchased over the counter and they're like, well, they're not working very well, even if I can't program them through my software, I can still put them on that machine to show them this is why you're not doing well, because there's really not enough output based on your hearing loss. You know, the other thing that we're also concerned about is that the user satisfaction with hearing aids overall is not real good. So we're afraid that if patients are actually purchasing these over the counter, they're either under amplifying or over amplifying, which means they're not going to be happy. So it's like, oh, I tried this, and why would I, go pay more money for something else? That's a hard fact to swallow.
Are hearing aids taxable?
No.
Sales tax, even
No
the new
sales.
ones, new over-the-counter ones?
I don't know about that. I would think no, because
okay.
they'll have the same rules and regulations that we have.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
no. And the other thing that we weren't certain of is the return policy on the over-the-counter. Now, the manufacturers that are actually making them, they have to label their product. And we have seen now, I was actually doing some research for our talk, and most of the hearing aids have a 30 to 60 day return policy. Now, where are those going? Are they just packaging them for the next person? And so that's kind of scary. The other scary thing is these over-the-counters aren't meant for kids. And a really good friend of mine is an audiologist, an educational audiologist, and her and I were speaking this morning, and she's afraid that there's some kids that are going to end up in the school system with these over-the-counter hearing aids that aren't meant for 18 and younger. And I know that there was a gentleman, a colleague of mine too, that had found one of his patients came in with a sudden hearing loss, but what he did first was go to over-the-counter hearing aid. But he woke up one morning and was like, oh, I'm not hearing as well to this ear. I'll go just buy an over-the-counter. And that didn't work. So then he finally did the medical and had a sudden hearing loss that the hearing aid wasn't going to help regardless. So, but the person that was checking him out had no idea that he had a sudden hearing loss. So I don't really think that they're checking the pros and cons or, why they should be buying them or not buying them, because they just made a sale.
So what do these over-the-counter units cost?
Anywhere between, what I've seen is anywhere between $300 and $600 a piece.
Gosh, no kidding. That much. Geez.
So they're not, like buying a wearable. Or
and they're just sitting on the shelf, right? I mean, it's not anybody helping them in general.
No. But we did also find that one of the companies was promoting their over-the-counter as audiologist quality.
That's neat.
We're
like
not
that.
a device. We are a service. And we would never promote that on hearing aids, but yeah. So the general public has really been misled.
Okay.
Oh boy,
right.
Marketing at its finest.
My guess on the cost of manufacturing of these is probably less than a few bucks. If I, and I'm sure most of them are coming from overseas. We American companies don't seem to like to make devices, that are
right,
whatever, with chips in them or something like that. And so very interesting.
Yeah, and I know that all of the big five, there's the big five in audiology, the different companies that actually manufacture hearing aids. I think that real soon, like I know one in particular, Starkey had, they already have an over-the-counter device, but they're not selling them retail. You have to go to an audiologist to get those over the counter. And I believe that a couple of the other big ones, because I've heard some little, don't tell anybody, Denise, but this is what's happening. They're all doing it, but they're all going to be with the service side. You have to have a hearing test, but that's what I would ideally like to do here. But I'm definitely going to be available for anybody that buys the over-the-counter. Because if their first experience was bad, I want their next experience in my office to be better.
Okay, so what about this? They buy an over-the-counter from you, they come back and it's not happiness, okay? Do you give them credit back?
Yes, yeah, there will be a return policy, yes.
Okay, No, that's interesting. Okay.
Just like there is with any of the hearing aids that my patients buy, the prescriptive hearing aids. There
Okay.
is a trial period that we legally have to give them. There is a cost to the patient if they return them. It's minimal, but I also have found in the past when there was no cost associated with the purchase, they weren't really, there had to be some stake in the game, you know, and I've had one return in 9 months, which is not too bad. And in that gentleman's case, his family just kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And I was like, this is the wrong thing to do. But he's like, I tried them and I don't want them. And I'm willing to pay you that restocking fee. I'm like, okay. But so I think the experience here is you just get a good patient experience from the time you walk in the door, or actually before that, when you call into my office. There's two ladies that are answering the phone, and they can answer all your questions regarding what your experience is going to be. And
Okay, it's the bottom of the hour, time for the news. Thanks for joining us this morning on Health Matters with the Medicine Center.
WHBC AM 10, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom, a bald eagle that had been hanging out in the Newcomerstown area in Tuscarawas County was hit by a garbage truck when it flew into the truck's path. Officials say it had a prior injury to its eye, probably never saw the truck. Crews took the eagle to a veterinarian, but they say the injuries were massive. It had to be euthanized. A growing number of communities across the country considering allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in local elections. 5 towns in Maryland already doing it, recently passed in 2 places in California. There is skepticism about the idea, with some worrying that teens aren't mature enough to vote. Those teens, however, argue if they can get a job and pay taxes, they should have a voice. Capitol rioter who admitted to dragging a Washington, D.C. police officer into a violent mob of protesters has now been sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. 43-year-old Albuquerque Head of Tennessee was sentenced yesterday. In a written statement, prosecutors say Head, who was part of the mob at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, wrapped his arm around the officer, Michael Fanone's neck, and yelled to fellow rioters, "I've got one," and dragged the officer into the mob, exposing him to even more violent attacks. Tonight on 1480 WHBC, it is Week 11 playoffs, and our Pro Football Hall of Fame radio game of the week is Orville at Fairless. We have the WHBCSports.com stream game of the week, Dublin Scioto at Lake, and the AltCare TV game of the week is Glen Oak at McKinley. Thursday Night Football saw the Ravens beat the Buccaneers 27-22. World Series starts tonight between the Astros and the Phillies, and the game's being held in Houston. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Some clouds and sun for today. Nice afternoon. Our high today 60. Clear, chilly night tonight, low 36. Sunny, terrific day on Saturday, the high 64. Clear on Saturday night, low 41. And then partly sunny, nice day on Sunday, the high 62. A couple of showers on Sunday night, low 53. A bit of rain on Monday, the high 64. A couple of brief showers Tuesday, the high 66. I'm Steve Williams for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off on Out by Store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off on Out by Store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. It's Halloween at the Half Off and Out by Store in Louisville. Better hurry while the selection is great. We have tons of home decorations, costumes, window decor, lots of Halloween baskets, pumpkin carving sets, skeletons, neat trick-or-treat bags, great face masks, all kinds of makeup, great lights. So hurry to the Half Off on Hot Buy store in Louisville next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Don't forget, you can get your flu shot at the Medicine Center Pharmacy next to the Half Off on Hot Buy store.
It's a Christmas wonderland for the Studio Arts and Glass Holiday Open House. Shop our yearly pre-season sale for 20% savings off hand-blown glass, unique jewelry, pottery, and of course, stunning stained glass. All handmade in America. Don't forget, we're open extended hours for the holidays. The Holiday Open House at Studio Arts and Glass in North Canton on 77 in Apple Grove. Come in today.
When you list your tag sale with Genuine Estate Services, you will experience professional sorting, researching, staging, pricing, and marketing of your cherished possessions. They have a large staff hosting your sale also, and they are very efficient. Call Eric at 330-206-0974 or log on to Genior, spelled Jenior, estateservices.com for more information.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
Welcome back to Health Matters. I'm your host and pharmacist, Paul White. This morning, Brad and I are talking with Dr. Denise Testa, audiologist with Hear the Possibilities. We have a lot more to cover this morning, so let's sit back to the show. Curious question, Doctor. You've been open 9 months. How many things have you run into that you didn't think you were ever going to run into in opening a business?
Oh my gosh. I think the hardest thing was the recredentialing on all insurances. It has not been an easy process, and I have hired a company to help me, and it still is not easy. So I think that has been my biggest challenge. And I can honestly say that I only get to be boss here twice a month. My practice manager, Michelle, tells everybody that she's the boss, but every other Friday I get to be boss because then it's payday. So I get to make payroll.
Well, when I opened the first pharmacy in 1976, I thought I was really smart, man. I found out in a few days that I wasn't really very smart about operating a business with all of the things that happened and licenses crazy. And this and that and and this and that.
Right.
So
I just found that if you surround yourself with smart people,
sure.
there was so many people that I have to thank that came out of the woodwork to help me.
Right.
Because, I just wanted to make lemonade out of the lemons that were delivered to me. And it has been way better than that. It really has. So again, thank you for letting me be on your show again, because I will get patients call in. Denise, I heard you. Can we call in and say good things?
Do you have any idea what percentage of the population has hearing issues?
Oh my gosh. I should know that, but
it's got to be enormous.
It is.
I would think.
And, on average, people wait, a good 7 years to do anything.
Right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why there might be a little hope for the over-the-counter to get somebody started in that journey earlier. But I think that the FDA and the government did an injustice to our elderly population in regards to over-the-counter. I think they really should have come up with a solution for those folks that are on limited budgets, that, Medicare does not pay for hearing aids. They'll pay for the diagnostic, but, and sometimes they have listening needs that will definitely be greater than the over-the-counter. And I just think they started a great thing, but they did not pick the right population that are on fixed incomes.
I guess I never really thought about that, but this may be, these units, these over-the-counter units may be a lead into an actual quality hearing aid. Which maybe it's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And if I can help somebody that is like, hey, I got this over the counter, their hearing is typically going to change. And, my patient base, I see at least every 6 months with their hearing aids, because if the prescriptive hearing aids, if there is a problem with the instrument, I can take it apart, clean it up, clean their ears, make sure that the firmware, because they're all essentially little mini computers, that they're up to date as well. And every year to year and a half, every one of my patients goes back in the booth for just a simple screening, because I want to make sure that their hearing aids that they're wearing today reflect the hearing loss they have today, not the one they had a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when they bought the hearing aids. And, and that's just part of our service package here. And so if we could get some of these over-the-counter users started early, then their journey going forward should be seamless.
So what is the real difference between the OTC hearing aids and the hearing aids that you fit and sell?
Well, the ones that we fit and sell, they have a diagnostic eval. We look at their medical case history. We look at their speech understanding in quiet, speech understanding in noise. We want to make sure that the system itself is healthy, that there's not an underlying condition that could be medically treated. And if they are, they go right back to their medical practice. Then if all of that's ruled out and hearing aids are the recommendation, then they fill out a form on what their perceived level of handicap is. And then that's the starting point on where we're going to decide what level of technology would definitely work for their specific need. So that's one side of it. Then we have to look at their ears to make sure that what I am, really recommending, can they get it in their ear? And then we look at dexterity, because as we age, people don't have as good dexterity. We have some people that are real shaky. And so a little tiny instrument is going to fall on the floor. I have a patient that's legally blind and she has Usher syndrome. So her vision is like through a straw. We got her red hearing aids so that if they fell on the carpet, she could find them.
Wow,
so we have to look at the person as a whole and their disability. And you always have to look at their financial side of things too, because, if I could fit everybody with premium hearing aids, it would make my life so much better. But not everybody can afford premium hearing aids. And I have actually had folks in that were like, hey, I want the best of the best. And I'm like, you don't need to spend that kind of money to get the success that I know you can get spending less. And they're like, wait a second, you're asking me to spend less money? Yes, and you will be so happy. So I just try to be as honest as I can. And you just have to be in any business because people can see right through it. And I never overpromise and underserve. You just can't do that. The patients are typically happy. But the ones that come in that, have their feet in the dirt, like, no, I don't want to do this. I'm not pushing anything. I'm like, what? It's my business. It is an audiology practice. I'm here to help you. When you need help, I'm here.
Are all or most of the new style hearing aids rechargeable batteries?
Yes.
I mean, I can remember way back that the hearing aid battery business was big time in the drugstores. We sold a ton of them.
Yep.
But I can also remember people trying to get the battery in the hearing aid and dropping it on the floor and,
yep.
and all that sort of thing and not being able to find the battery.
That is correct. And so the rechargeables have been phenomenal, exactly for the dexterity issues. And, the first couple generations of the hearing aids, you still had to have some dexterity to turn them on. Now you put them in the charger, they turn off. You take them out of the charger, they turn on. One of the companies, Resound, that I work with just came out with a really nice in the ear rechargeable device. It looks nice. Some of the other ones were big and bulky because of how they had to build the rechargeable case, because everybody's ears are different. So you have to build a case that will support different ear structures, and resounded well with their design. But everybody kind of follows suit. So most of the manufacturers will have those. But I still have patients that are like, I want batteries. I'm used to batteries. Okay, you can still get the same technology with batteries that you can without.
How long will a unit charge for?
How long will the
You-
rechargeable battery last?
Yes, yes.
Ideally 26 to 28 hours. Okay. That's with just normal hearing aid wear. If they stream, and streaming means that they have a smartphone that we have the hearing aid Bluetooth for any audio, whether it's a phone call, whether it's podcast, whether it's music. If somebody wears their hearing aids at least 12 to 16 hours a day and streams 4 hours, they can still have one charge. But from a dead instrument, it only takes 3 hours to get a full charge.
Okay, wow, interesting. So what is the current adjustment period generally like for hearing aids, and what should someone new to hearing aids expect?
Well, the general rule of thumb is about 30 to 60 days. Now, a new user has 30 days legally to try the hearing aids. I will let them go a little bit longer if we're having some issues with just getting used to hearing. The majority of the patients that I see that are new users, their first reaction is to their own voice, because their own voice is going to sound so different to them. And, I have a seat that everybody sits in as I'm programming, and I tell them every single person that has sat in that seat, their first reaction is like, oh my gosh, my voice sounds different. Well, it should, because you're hearing it amplified and there's sound getting trapped down in your ear. So that's usually, I would say, the biggest hurdle is patient's own voice.
Wow. Well, we take our final break here, Brad. You are listening to Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy.
It's Halloween at the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville. Better hurry while the selection is great. We have tons of home decorations, costumes, window decor, lots of Halloween baskets, pumpkin carving sets, skeletons, neat trick-or-treat bags, great face masks, all kinds of makeup, great lights. So hurry to the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Don't forget, you can get your flu shot at the Medicine Center Pharmacy next to the Half Off and Out By store. When you list your tag sale with Genuine Estate Services, you will experience professional sorting, researching, staging, pricing, and marketing of your cherished possessions. They have a large staff hosting your sale also, and they are very efficient. Call Eric at 330-206-0974 or log on to Genior, spelled Jenior, estateservices.com for more information. Saving money is awesome. Saving money on items you actually use? Fantastic. Hi, Paul White for the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville. If you think you'll find the same low prices, huge variety, or great customer service at any other store, you'd be wrong. Stop into our store in Louisville and see what great deals we have. Follow us on our Facebook page at Half Off Store to see super specials. Why pay full price? Come in and experience the Half Off and Out By store in Louisville, next to the Medicine Center Pharmacy. The Medicine Center Pharmacies are now offering a service to help support your medication needs. We want to make sure that you have the medications you need when you need them. We will contact you 5 to 7 days in advance of your next medication refill to start the process each month. We will review your medications with you. We will contact your physician to initiate the process for refills and schedule a convenient day for pickup or home delivery. We simplify medication pickup into fewer pickups each month at the Medicine Center Pharmacies in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia. Hi, Paul White for the Medicine Center Pharmacy. I'm happy to report that we've been fortunate to purchase the Dartmouth Pharmacy of Canton. All prescription records have been transferred to the Canton Medicine Center Pharmacy on West Tuscarawas Street. We have already met and transferred many former Dartmouth Pharmacy patients and have hired the staff to work in our Canton store. So please stop by and check out our super pharmacy. Any questions, please call the Medicine Center in Canton, 330-455-5422.
You're listening to News Talk 1480 WHBC and Health Matters with the Medicine Center Pharmacy. Now, here's your host, Paul White.
Welcome back to Health Matters. This morning we are speaking with Dr. Denise Testa, audiologist with Hear the Possibilities.
All right, Dr. Testa, we've covered a lot about over-the-counter hearing aids and how people get used to hearing aids. We only have about 10 minutes left. All right, what should we cover that the listeners really should know about? Should we talk about kids and earbuds, or what's your messages that we want to make sure we talk about before we run out of time here?
Okay, so kids and earbuds, they are usually too loud. So a little rule of thumb for parents is if they have their earbuds in and you can actually hear what is in your child's ear, it's too loud. So they should be set at about 60% of volume. And, if they are doing this, it should be like a 60 rule, 60 and then 60 minutes a day. I know kids are doing more and more of that, but we're identifying more and more hearing loss in teenagers than we ever did before. So there's a lot more than just the earbuds that are coming into play with hearing loss in teenagers. But the nice thing is the schools are now testing kindergarten, first, third, fifth. They now have had 7th grade, 9th. To identify. So I get a lot of students here that just are like, hey, I failed my screening. Well, some of it earwax, my favorite. And, sometimes, something is going on that, was later identified or later onset. But yeah, so I think my last message to everybody is I want to be the expert. I am the expert, or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I want to be the expert for questions, answers, and diagnostics. The beautiful thing is the relationship that I had with all my former physicians that I worked with, they're sending me their patients because they trusted me. I have built this reputation in North Canton for 26 years, and I'm following the medical model 100%. And it's a great atmosphere here, and I have great staff. My mom actually is here today, and she's learning the computer system as a backup. So I just always want to make sure that we have our phones answered, because the competition is pretty big in this area. And there's a lot of places that patients can go. But I can tell you honestly that my biggest referral rate is from patient to patient. I had a gentleman yesterday that's a retired dentist, and he had gone elsewhere, and then he was talking to somebody at church, and he's like, yeah, I'm considering hearing aids, but I didn't really like the place I went. And they're like, nope, you have to go see Dr. Testa, hear the possibilities. And he was just amazed, just because it's not as antiseptic as a formal, it just is more homey here, and it's professional, but we have a good time. And when you come in, I'm me regardless of who you are. I have some of my former physicians that are patients. So, but yeah, I think the first step is give us a call. If you have any questions, concerns, if you have just a question about the over-the-counter, call us. If you have a question about hearing aids that you purchased somewhere else, call us. I have patients that have gotten hearing aids through the VA, and the VA hearing aids are top line. Their service side is the hard side. So I have patients that'll come in that bought hearing aids through the VA, and yeah, they're going to pay a little bit to come in, but they're happy when they leave because they're hearing better. And that's the ultimate goal.
Interesting.
Why don't you add your contact info since you just mentioned that they can call you regardless of whether they've been a patient before?
Yep. So it's Hear the Possibilities. Our office number is 330-388-5813. Our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and Fridays, 8 to noon. And if they want to stop in, they can feel free to stop in. And we're at 6231 Frank Avenue, and it's in the South Professional Building in North Canton. And so we're real close to the Strip. It's very easy to find. My office is right out front on the right.
Okay. So How much time we got? About 3 minutes, right?
4.
4 minutes. What are some things parents should do to help prevent hearing loss due to the noise in their children? I mean, they're all wearing headphones and riding their bicycle down the street with the headphones on and all kind of stuff. I'm thinking.
Yeah, in the past there was, and I think you still can, there was parental controls within phones and the little iPad or iPod minis. But kids are going to do what they want to do, whether, because we don't
Really?
Yeah, they do. I've had to. And you just have to kind of try to limit how much time they have earbuds in their ears and how loud they are. That is the key.
Sometimes you hear them when they're walking by you. You can hear the music from the earbuds. Yes. Okay.
Then it's too loud. But the other thing is that, kids don't realize is the damage that you're causing today is the only preventable kind, is the noise induced. There's a genetic disposition to hearing loss. So most of us will get some degree of hearing loss. However, even with my adults that have hearing aids, it's like wear ear protection when you're snow blowing, when you're mowing your yard, when you're using any kind of tools, because you can still lose more hearing. The hearing aids themselves aren't going to stop the progression, but there's limitations on the hearing aids. So we know, and I legally know, that they can't come back to me because I measure what the output is on their hearing aids. But everybody needs to be aware that noise-induced hearing loss is the only preventable type. That's why there's a lot of those OSHA regulations now and the manufacturing companies, because of noise.
When you walk into a steel mill as an individual that doesn't work there, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, how do these people stand this,
Yep.
And some are wearing protection and some aren't wearing protection, which is really kind of amazing. So.
Well, in the gentlemen that I have seen that work in those places, if it's recommended, but then they can't hear their machine for safety, or they can't hear, I mean, there's got to be a better solution for them, for those plants. Should it be a custom plug that also has some kind of radio headset in it that somebody could talk to them? Because they're measuring them, but then if this worker tries to go back and say, hey, you caused my hearing loss. No, I measured it each year. It was aging. So it's kind of sad what happens to some of them. But I see a lot of those old Timken people before they had OSHA come in, and they tell me they work at Timken, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have a high frequency hearing loss, and here's all your problems that you're having before we even do the case history. So just experience.
Well, there's dozens and dozens of lawn care people now out there that are doing multiple lawns, and I do see most of them are wearing ear protection, which they never did in the past. And I never did that in the past either. So anyway.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And ear protection, not put a headset on and turn up the volume to so you can hear the music over the lawnmower. I've seen that too.
Oh yeah. I guess you're right.
Yeah,
how much time we got, Brad? Are we about done?
Yeah, we better wrap it up, but it's been a great program.
Yeah,
thank
it really
you,
has.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful talking to you and listening to you. So I did have a friend who worked at a manufacturing in St. Petersburg, Florida, hearing aids. Are they still in the, do you know of them? I can't remember the company. Okay. Okay, thank you very much to our guest, Denise, Dr. Denise Testa, audiologist with Hear the Possibilities. We'd like to remind our listeners, if you suspect you have a medical issue, please contact your health care provider. Thanks to our sponsors, Altman Health Systems, Studio Arts and Glass, and Genuine Appraisals and Liquidations. As always, we thank our listeners for joining us on Health Matters with Medicine Center Pharmacy. Have a healthy week, and we'll see you right here next Friday on News Talk 1480 WHBC. Thank you, Doctor, very much.
Thank you so much. Have a
The
wonderful
program
weekend.
is sponsored by the
Take care.
Medicine Center
Happy
Pharmacy.
Halloween.
Thank you too.
Orville at